Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Throwback Sports Media and Entertainment. This is your boy Frankie J, and today, the topic for today, I want to really dive into what the pound for pound of boxing is. I want to dive into the pound for pound, the face of boxing, because there's a couple of fights that have just ended. Right, the most notable one is with the Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia fight, and then you have Canelo that just fought this last weekend. So I really wanted to dive into this because I'm a big boxing fan. I'm a big avid fan, and the face of boxing has always been reserved for the elite, right? When you hear a certain name, that's the face of boxing. That's the king. And so regardless of the division, when we're talking about pound for pound king, I want to really dive into this because I want to clear up some things. A lot of people out there are saying that Tank Davis is now the face of boxing after fighting Ryan Garcia, but I really want to dive in because the face of boxing, it's just not about victory. It's about who you're fighting, right? How much money is being generated in the sport, when you're the headliner, when you're the the quote unquote the show. And I really think that Gervonta Tank Davis is going to be the up and coming star. But I just really wanted to go over the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And I just wanted to kind of give you guys feedback, and I wanted to give you guys the view numbers wise, because obviously he's a tremendous fighter. He's an amazing fighter. I actually remember bumping into Tank at the Floyd Mayweather camp when Floyd was grooming him to be who he is now. So seeing where he is to now what he's become, and I remember seeing this guy in the Mayweather gym. Seeing this guy in the Mayweather gym, it's absolutely awesome to see the progression and the success that someone has had, staying true to himself and dedicating himself to the sport. So it's not a knock on Tank. I love Tank. Hopefully I could go and see one of his fights. Hopefully we can see that rematch with Ryan down the line. Obviously Ryan has a lot of growing to do, but nonetheless, they both went in the ring, and they both gave it their all. And but let's just dive into the numbers, real quick, okay? Because the face of boxing, especially when I grew up, I'm 34 years old, 33 years old actually. As I was growing up, the face of boxing, you hear the name Mike Tyson, you hear the name Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis. Those are the names. When I was coming up, those are the names. Roy Jones Jr., Winky Wright. But obviously, the face of boxing, it's always been a headliner, like a Mike Tyson, like Oscar De La Hoya, Julio Cesar Chavez. So those are when you hear the face of boxing, not only are you racking up the wins, but you're also putting people in the seats, and you're also generating pay-per-view buys, the cash cow, right, as Floyd Mayweather likes to say it. Now, just running up on the numbers, I mean, it's just staggering. So I really don't know how you can say that you're the face of boxing when you're putting up these type of numbers. Let's just go down the list. We got Tank Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz, right? That generated 200,000 pay-per-view buys. Okay. Gervonta Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios, 210,000 pay-per-view buys. Okay. We got Davis versus Isaac Cruz, 150,000 pay-per-view buys. Tank versus Rolly Romero, 250,000 pay-per-view buys. You see where I'm going with this? Tank Davis versus Hector Garcia, 210,000 pay-per-view buys. Okay, and then we'll circle it back to this last fight that he just had, with Tank and Ryan, and that generated a whopping 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. So, and I know for a fact that, I know Tank is a great fighter. He's an awesome fighter. Ryan, right? This whole social media buzz and TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff, he brought eyes to the sport. And I know that Tank couldn't do it without Ryan, and Ryan couldn't do it without Tank. But they've just had one showing. Tank has had just one showing alongside Ryan, and that's generated 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. Okay, so let's compare that to Canelo, right? Canelo just fought, victorious in Guadalajara, in Mexico, back in his hometown, which is awesome to see, right? It's awesome to see La Raza, come back home in the roots and, fill up a soccer stadium like that. I mean, let's just go through the numbers with Canelo, because the numbers are staggering, and when we're talking about the face of boxing, not only are we talking about, putting on good fights, not only are we talking about, bringing the people to the stands, filling up the arenas, but, this is a big, just a staggering number. Okay, so just to give you guys perspective, right? I seen what Tank was supposed to earn in his last fight with Ryan, with his guaranteed money and the pay-per-view buys. He walked away from $8 to $10 million, right, for that fight. $8 to $10 million. Just to give you guys perspective, Canelo Alvarez, he has a guaranteed $45 million per fight. All right, and that's before pay-per-view buys and all that other stuff, before sponsorships and all this stuff. 45 million. So it took Tank a fight with Ryan that had to generate $1.2 million pay-per-view buys for him just to rack up to the 10 million. Now, we all got to start somewhere, right? But just to give you perspective and what it means to be the face of boxing, this is what I mean. Canelo's, for one, is putting in the work. All right, he's facing tough opponents like Bivol, right? Went up in weight, got defeated. He didn't get outclassed, but got defeated, and no one's knocking him for moving up in weight. Okay, he's gonna run it back with Bivol, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna take it as a decision. Ever since Floyd left, cash cow, the king, pay-per-view buys. So Canelo Alvarez, 45 million, just guaranteed for his fights. Let's just go to see money his fights have generated. Okay. So we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Miguel Cotto. Everybody knows Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez. That fight generated 900,000 pay-per-view buys. Okay. Julio Cesar Chavez, y'all remember that fight? Julio Cesar Chavez, that generated 1 million pay-per-view buys. Okay. We talking about Triple G and Canelo, that generated 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. And then we go to the top of the list. Floyd, Money Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, 2.2 million pay-per-view buys. And I mean, that's staggering, you guys. So we're talking about pound for pound. Not only are we talking about racking up the wins, not only are we talking about, being on a first name basis and everybody, knows you. After his interview, they asked him.
We spoke, and you spoke to our production group. He said, I've watched Floyd. I watched Canelo. I look at all the tapes of Ray Leonard, Manny Pacquiao, all these guys. I'm going to be the face of boxing. Are you now?
I'm definitely face of boxing.
And, anybody with somebody like him with high confidence, absolutely is going to answer the question like that. But to the real boxing fans, do we really think that, Gervonta is that pound for pound, the face of boxing? And not quite yet. Not quite yet, guys. I mean, we have boxers out there like Errol Spence Jr., Terrence Crawford, that I would rank up, higher than Gervonta. We need to get those guys in the ring. Canelo Alvarez, Bivol, you know, Lomachenko. I mean, there's a lot of fighters out there, they're just not getting the same exposure. They're not getting in the ring, so they're able to generate, these pay-per-view buys. But I just really wanted to get on here and kind of just break down the numbers. I love Canelo. I love Gervonta Tank Davis. Boxing is my favorite sport, and I just wanted to kind of put that to rest. Is Gervonta coming up? Absolutely, he's coming up. But to say he's the face of boxing, not quite yet. He's definitely the next one. And I think we need to get Gervonta the right dance partners. We need to see Gervonta Tank Davis get challenged, and I think he's doing an awesome job. He's listening to his coaching. He's listening to Ellerby. He's listening to Floyd. It was good to see Floyd congratulate Tank at the end of the fight. I think that was awesome. I know that they're not quote unquote together, but it was everybody. There was a lot of speculation whether Floyd would show up to the fight, and which he did, which is awesome. But Tank has a really, really solid team, and he has a lot of solid advisors. Al Heyman. So I think that the question of the face of boxing, I think we have to tailor it back. Gervonta Tank Davis is next, but it's still Canelo Alvarez. It's not even a debate yet. Can it be a debate in a couple of years? Absolutely. But as of right now, the face of boxing, it still goes to Canelo Alvarez. Because men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.